Okay, check. Testing 1, 2, 3. Is that thing on? Yeah, it's on. It's on. Hey. Tommy, you are the epitome. We're expanding our vocabularies today. The epitome of sketchiness is T-Bone there. Yep. We'll catch everybody up. There we go. He is the epitome of sketchy. So now our vocabulary lesson for today, epitome. It's a noun. It's a person or a thing that's a perfect example of a particular quality of type. She looked the epitome of elegance and good grace, good taste. Yeah, that's Tommy. Elegance and good taste. Hello, Dennis. Welcome. Glad you're here. Yes. Well, we're just trying, the fireworks was just an effort to kind of splash it up. And it also gives me a chance to see, if you stream a fairly still image like this, I mean, there's hardly anything moving in this image. If you stream something like this and you're monitoring your own stream for bit rate and things like that, you're not streaming as much data as if you were, if everything were changing. So that's part of the reason for the fireworks there is to, is to make sure that our bit rate is throwing it up there and YouTube is able to handle it. For example, let's see, we'll look at the YouTube screen. Earlier, it said that it didn't like my frame rate, that I should be live streaming at 30 frames a second instead of the 60 that I'm pushing out. Well, it took it a while to kind of adjust to that. And I think the the fireworks kind of help that too, so that it knows that I'm pushing frames that are different frames. And YouTube and Facebook and some of the others are, they're kind of like that. They don't they don't get it at first. A good example of things that don't always get it at first is vMix Call. If you use vMix Call, I like to get that started 15 minutes ahead of time and give it a chance to kind of smooth itself out. Sometimes I'll notice that my guests are they're lagging, or their audio just all of a sudden catches up. And something, and I think sometimes that has to do with just, getting an established connection. So that's what we're going to do. Aziz, welcome. He's spreading the love today. Yes, glad to have you. Glad to have you. And Gunnar is here. Welcome. Gotcha. And vMix 26 was the release. Yes. Yeah, Tommy, I think I called you the epitome of style and grace. Guys can have style. Guys can be graceful in what they do. Thought I saw something on my shirt there. It turns out it's just a reflection in the, well, maybe that is. I want to make sure I don't have my lunch there. There's an old trick if you're doing these kind of shows like that. You can grab either your coat tail if you're wearing a coat, or your shirt tail if you're not wearing a coat, and pull it down in the back, and that makes your shoulders smoother, and it makes the key easier. It makes the key a little nicer too, so you don't end up with too many. The more wrinkles and ripples you have there, I think the more difficult it is for the backlighting to give you a good smooth lighting on the shoulders. So yeah, there you go. That's my, I mean, it's obvious. All the tricks I have, I stole from somebody else. The good stuff is what you want to keep. All right, what do we got going here? We've got 9 minutes. Tell me it. Tommy, it all comes back into style. At one point, wire glasses like this were much the style. They've gone out. They'll come back. They'll come back if we live that long. Yeah, that's right. But no, getting ready for today's show was a lot of fun, because I had an occasion over the weekend, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in the show, but I want to share a little bit of it with you now. I had an occasion over the weekend to try out the PTZ Optics Move 4K auto tracking camera at my church, and turned it on just during the sermon, when the pastor tends to wander a little bit, and then turned it off right after that. We are a one camera church. I got to figure out a way to get another camera in there. And so everybody kind of got to watch the camera go into auto tracking mode and come out of auto tracking mode, which is not a big deal, but it's not primetime video material, because the camera basically just goes back to the home position. And then it takes a second to kind of grab it again. And, oh, Tommy, those are the rage. Those are the rage, especially the big ones. Not in any place that you and I would go. Anyway, so I tried out that camera at the church over the weekend, And you know what? I should have grabbed a clip with that. Talking about old style. Yeah. I should have some new backgrounds. I tried one just for the fun of it, with the post show. And so, yeah, I tried that one and I like it. But, you know, there really ought to be something that's better themed. And I agree. More than anything else here, I just wanted something that just wasn't black. I just threw it up. But I probably am wasting this background. I mean, wasting the opportunity to put something really good on the background. I agree. And the Streaming Idiots background, the main shot, let's see if I can put that in here. I hate to let that one go because that was a gift to me, from somebody I've never met in person, but who was a viewer for many, many years. I think he's passed on now, but yeah, and it's dated. It's dated. You're right. You're right. But sometimes it's just hard to, you know, when you've been around for a while, it's hard to give up some of the things that you've, how would I best say it? The things that you've gotten used to. Let's see if we can straighten ourselves out a little bit here. Is this going to work? There we go. And my microphone came into the picture at that point. So let's fix that. One second here, folks. We want to go to position. And we want to do it on the camera, not on that one. So we got that one right there. And we'll crop just a tad more out. There we go. So now my hand goes off. Oh, you can see it. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Not sure why you can see it here and not there. Huh. Not sure. Probably because it's a virtual effect. There we go. Interesting. Okay. Got it. Got it good. One of the things that all right, Gunnar said you should try some dynamic layers as backgrounds. And then he sent an emoji, good vibes, which apparently vMix doesn't understand as an emoji. But YouTube does. And let's see if we can see it on here. Now I can't see it down here yet. I'll be able to see it in just a minute. Yeah. The chat's a little flaky today, I think, because my chat is not keeping up. Right here, let's just try a test chat. There we go. That got things unclogged. All right, sorry, I keep getting distracted. All these toys around to play with. I was thinking about that as I was going to lunch a little while ago. You know, all these. I've started, apparently, I've become a PTZ camera collector. It was not my intention, but I have begun this collection of PTZ cameras. Hello, Marie. Welcome. Glad you're here. And I'm going to do a quick count. Within arm's reach are 1, 2, 3, 4. Outside of arm's reach are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I have one in the car, makes 12. You think I have a camera problem? Oh my gosh. I guess it could be worse. I guess it could be worse. Yes, he is pretty. In his own way, he's pretty. In his own way. Golly gee. I find myself at a loss for words. It's a dangerous position to be in. Oh, I know. And we'll talk about this in just a minute, but yes, yes, yes. Hello, Dave. Good to see you. Well, good to see your avatar. Nice to know you're out there still kicking. Yeah. Oh, golly, what is this? What is this? As pretty as a speckled foot in a brand new wagon. We'll have to see. Mike, yes, I will do my best. I will do my best. Hello, Ken. Glad to have you. Good to see you. Hello, Ray. Glad you could make it. Oh. So let's go back to Tommy, where it's Marie is as pretty as a speckled pup in a brand new wagon. Isn't that just kind of an iconic kind of image? Yeah. Well, and that'll kind of clean it up there. Okay. We have hobnobbed enough in the pre-show. We got to go do a show. And we have to use the purple button. Remember the purple button? Your X-Key 80 will not come with a purple button unless you make one. I made these with just purpleness out of my printer, purpleness and yellowness, and yeah, the rest of it were done by hand. So here we go, purpleness. Ta-da! Yes, so glad you're here with me today. So glad I'm here with you today. Holy cow. Yes, indeed. What a day. We were having a little pre-chat discussion about apparently I'm not a camera reseller anymore. I'm a camera collector. I have 12 PTZ cameras. Please take some of these off my hands. Beg you, but not before I have a chance to play with them, because by playing with them, we learn how to use our gear. Playing with them, we learn how to use our gear. And the better we know how to use our gear, the better we're going to be able to use our gear, and the quicker we're going to be able to respond if there are problems. If you don't understand how your gear works, how are you going to troubleshoot it when something is amiss? So today's setup, yeah, just to kind of give you a verbal, because we don't have any pretty graphics like the guys at Streaming Idiots, the guys at vMix Fun Time Live Show, which happens. about the last week of the month. We had one, what, a week or 10 days ago, right before they, oh, actually, it was the 25th or the 24th, maybe. Anyway, it was a Tuesday, right before they released vMix 26. If you have vMix 25 and you'd like to update to vMix 26, you might be able to do that for free. Go to the About page in vMix. Let's go to Settings and then About, and it'll tell you what your date of your vMix is. And if it's like 21 or 20 or 19, and I'm talking about the years now, 2019, 2020, 2021, you'll probably have to pay $60 US for an update. But if you're in 2022, January 2022, or more recent, you can update to vMix 26 for free. There's lots of good stuff in there. No one giant striking feature, but just lots of good things. And you can find them on the vMix website. And if you want to purchase your vMix from us at Eastern Shore Broadcasting, we are resellers of vMix, have been since 2014, coming up on 10 years next year. Holy cow. And so, yeah, we'd be happy to do that, and we can support you too. So if you're buying vMix for the first time, or if you're buying another license, or even if you're just updating, go to easternshorebroadcasting.com and you can get your updates or your upgrades or your new licenses there, and we can help you with the things you need in the future. So yeah, that's our little vMix ad today. There's lots of all sorts of good stuff on the website, including cameras. So if you want to go buy some of Tom's camera collection, you can do that here. Now, today's camera is a new camera. Today's camera right here, you and me, is a new camera. This arrived by UPS maybe Monday. I've been carrying it around in my car. Unboxed it today. Spared you the unboxing video. But this is, I do have a camera focused in on this camera. And so here is the camera. Haven't even taken the cellophane off of it. Let's get that graphic out of the way. There we go. And that is the PTZ Optics Move 4K 30X in gray. And it is, I would say it's probably 30% larger than the Generation 2 line of PTZ cameras. It's a little bigger, it's a little broader, it's a little, the lens is mammoth, because not only is it a 30X lens, but it's also a 4K lens. And I think the challenge, I haven't taken this any further in zoom between you and me, but I think the challenge is making 4K look good when 30X is zoomed in all the way. What does it look like? And so I'm going to carry this over to the church. I might even set it up and use it in the church on Sunday, just to see how it does and what it looks like. So yeah, we will do that and see what we can find. But today I'm using it as a studio camera, and I would not recommend it as a studio camera. It has too much lens. This lens is all the way out, and as a result, I had to crop out some of the image here because it showed up things on my green screen that normally wouldn't show up in a camera that had less of a lens. So that's okay. At least I don't think I'm zoomed in at all. Let's see. The old controls, the old PTZ Optics controls work with the new cameras, by the way, if you're wondering. Okay, so let's zoom out. Yeah, there, and see, now you can see all that stuff. So we had to zoom in, but by the time I zoomed in enough to get all that stuff out of the way, I was too much of the screen. So that's okay. That's okay. We'll go with that. So yeah, here's the camera. And can we make it do something? Sure, we can make it do something. Let's see. We've got a remote control here. Woo, there it is. And one of the funny things about this guy, I think it's kind of cute, um, is get me back in the come on back, come on back, come on back, come on back, come on back. There we go. There we go. It when you turn it off with the remote, it goes to sleep. But it also, let's see if I can get a picture of it here because I've got one on my desk. Let's see. Let's get this camera back in here. And let's go ahead and see if we can't get it to zoom around. Oops, let's pick up the speed a little bit there, guys. There we go. Can we see down enough? Nope. Not going to be able to see it. But had we been able to see it, you would have seen a cute little PTZ Optics camera on my desk with its lens turned around so that it's kind of facing to the rear, and then the lens is all the way tucked down. It's all the way tilted down, so it kind of looks like it's taking a nap. It's kind of funny. Anyway, back to the lens. You can see I'm easy getting off the subject today. The PTZ Optics, I think it's a PT30X 4K G2. Nope, not G2. GY would be the gray one. Anyway, they're on the website. I think it's like $21.95. So $2,200, and it's 4K, and it's PTZ, and it's auto tracking, and it's a bunch of other stuff that's really cool. Oh, it's NDI. And it also is USB for video over USB 2. Found that out last week. That's pretty interesting and pretty different. But the question came up to me in a Facebook discussion since last Wednesday when we sort of debuted the Move 4K line. How good is the auto tracking? How will the auto tracking keep up with somebody that is moving pretty quickly? Thinking about a church where the pastor is vibrant and exciting and zipping across the stage right and left. Well, I decided that I would go ahead and try to find out if maybe the camera couldn't follow somebody. So I went down to the church where I still have, this is the 20X version now, not the 30X, but I've got a PTZ Optics Move 4K 20X temporarily ensconced at the church. And so I tried it out this morning in a speed test. So let's try a little speed test, can we? So that's general walking speed. Yeah, that's not too bad. Walking speed, I would say maybe a brisk walk. Yeah, kind of a brisk walk. Now that's really a brisk walk. And that's a slow jog. And that's a fast jog for a 67-year-old. And the idea is that, boom, the idea is that I couldn't outrun it. And I'll let you, we'll play that again in just a second. But in fact, let's play it and we'll pause it at different places. So let's restart the video here and we'll come back. And there we go. And I'm going to slow this. Oops, I'm going to slow this down a little bit. And you can see even when I'm running, I can't run out of the frame. Here's the run here. I tried to get the camera going the other way and it's still caught up with me. So yeah, that's the ticket right there. And then I tried to make the camera lose me, but it still didn't. It knew where I was. So I think the camera did really, really well. Did better than I did. You can use the remote control. This is the old remote. You can see the multicolored buttons across here. And two of those buttons, I'm not sure which two they are because I don't have a new remote right with me. It's just out of reach. Two of the buttons turn on the auto tracking and turn it off. And I think the button that turns it on can also be used if you've got multiple individuals in the shot to move the auto tracking from person one to person two, and then from person two to person three as needed. And so that's done. At this point, I've only seen it done with the remote. I haven't tried it. And I would feel certain at some point there's going to be some sort of app or web interface that will allow you to do that too, and not just through the remote, because that's kind of clunky through the remote. But we can go. So let's do the video just one more time. I'm going to go back to 100% speed, and yeah, let's restart. Here we go. Oh my gosh. I've sent this video on to PTZ Optics. I don't know if they'll use it, but it's a great it's a good demonstration of I could not get all the way out of the frame. Now there were some places, let's see if I can back it up to yeah, let's see if we can just do it here. And we'll just come back to there. Yeah, that's as close to out of the frame as I could get. It just wouldn't go any further. And let's slow that down to about 50% speed, and we'll start it again. And I thought, okay, well, maybe the camera, I can lose it by going back the other way, kind of faking it out, but it wouldn't go. Really, really impressed with the auto tracking. Now, some of the downsides to the auto tracking. One is, of course, it takes the remote control to switch from one person to another, unless there's something else I don't know about, and that's certainly a possibility. The second was, and let's see if I can go over to this again, and we've got it pretty slow, so it'll go. You notice that is the framing of the video. I am, you know, in the middle for the most part, but it won't zoom in any tighter on me, and it won't zoom out anymore. While the camera is in auto tracking mode, there is no ability to control the camera at all. So I can't say, okay, well, I want to speed it up and make it go faster to the left to catch up with me, or faster to the right so that I don't go out of the frame, which I don't. I can't do that. I have no control over the camera. So it'll be interesting to see as PTZ Optics continues to develop this camera. And they've promised that they are going to do that. Whether they are able to add the ability to have different zoom levels. So if you want a tighter zoom. Now, in this situation right here, I can turn on the auto tracking for this camera and it will maintain this zoom because this is what it sees. But at the church, I could actually zoom in all the way on myself. But when I turned on auto tracking, it went back almost to the home position and then tracked from there. So there may be some idiosyncrasies or some tips and tricks on that to make it start in a more zoomed position, for example, or somehow allow it to be overridden temporarily to zoom in and then to resume the auto tracking. Not sure. But I'll put those as feature requests and see if I can't find somebody's ear at PTZ Optics to drop those eyes in. But if I were in the market, especially in a church environment, but I could see it also in an educational environment, if I were in the market for an auto tracking camera, this would not dissuade me in any way from buying this camera. I think it's extremely usable the way it is, and PTZ Optics has pledged, and I take it as a pledge, I take it as a promise that they are going to continue to improve this product even while it's out in the field, a la Bird Dog and the Bird Dog's Easter eggs, where they reveal new functions and enhance old functions on cameras that are already in the field. And so I think I think we're going to see that from PTZ Optics. I think they want to stay. Um, I think they want to be up on the top. Whatever it is they're in, they want to be on the top of it. And I think this is going to be a great way for them to do it. That they've built in to these cameras enough AI or enough computing ability or enough programming ability to be able to go in and make changes via the firmware. Now I showed you last week. If you weren't there, I'm not going to show you again because you can go back to last week's video. But updating the firmware was easy peasy. You're in the web UI where you change all the settings to the color and white balance and turn off and on the auto tracking. And there's a section that allows you to update the firmware. It actually goes and downloads the firmware for you. It checks to see if there's an update, goes and downloads it for you, and then helps you install it. So it's the easiest I've seen of any firmware update. So it makes updating firmware child's play or grown-ups play, adults play for that matter. So that's it. Let's see. So auto tracking, yeah. Is it ready for prime time? I think so. I think so. Could it get better? Yes. Yes. Couple little tweaks could get really, really good. One of the tweaks that we talked about last week, and I'm not going to review everything about it, was just the ability to go from person-centric to motion-centric, and to be able to be used for a basketball game or a soccer match or something like that, where you have a mass of folks that are kind of moving and be able to assign it to some colors in that or some patterns or something like that, where it can recognize those and something with limits, where you're going to have this pattern here and this pattern here, and as those patterns move, it moves, and it may have to zoom and zoom in and zoom out depending on what's needed. But hopefully we'll see something like that come to mind. And yeah, big thumbs up on the auto tracking. As far as the 4K is concerned, this is I mentioned it I didn't mention it last week, but the 4K sensors, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I read was that the 4K sensors in these cameras, the 12X, the 20X, and the 30X, I think the 12S has a different sensor, but the 20 and the 30 may have the same, kind of like the Gen 2s, but that they were Sony sensors. And that the size of the 30X and maybe the 20X too, I'd have to check my spec sheet, but the 30X for sure was 1/1.8. So that's just slightly larger than a 1/2 inch. And that's pretty good size. I mean, in the past, we've seen sensors from PTZ Optics and others that were 1/2.8. And so 1/1.8, I think, is a significant size difference. And price-wise, we haven't seen a huge increase in price. So the PTZ Optics 30X moved 4K with auto tracking and 4K is priced at just under $2,200, where the Gen 2 NDI, I think, was just like $2,100. Um, so for $100 more, you can get 4K and auto tracking. Oh my goodness, that's huge. That's great. It's grand. So, hat tip to PTZ Optics, um, Paul and Matt and Tess and Lindsay and Andrew and all that group. Um, well done. Well done. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. We'll see how the changes come out. I mean, that's the real test. They've thrown out a lot of good engineering. Can they make good on the promise to continue to improve that engineering in products that are already on the field? That's that's a pretty poignant part. Now, here's the deal. I have too many cameras. If you would like to demo in your studio, in your church, in your auditorium, in your wherever, one of these Move 4K cameras, I have some demo versions available. I have a 12X, I have a 20X, and I have a 30X. If you would like to have me send it to you, and I'll send it to you at my cost, and you can send it back to me at your cost, to try. You can try it for a week or so, and I kind of have to know who you are. So if your name is John Doe, you're probably not getting a camera without a deposit or something. But I'm not going to ask for a deposit. I just want you to try it and see and play with it. We can chat about how to make it work in your environment. We're sending one to John down in the Caribbean. And John said he would take the demo, and then he called me back later and said that his wife was buying it for him for his birthday. So, wives, John's wife has set the bar pretty high. So, and my wife would like me to get rid of some of my 12 cameras in my collection. No, some of them I'm keeping. Maybe more than one. We'll see. There he goes. John says the 20X is his. Well, John, I had to get another 20X because as soon as the show is over today, I am going to dig through all these boxes and find your 20X. So maybe I'll only have 11 after today, and and send it on down to you. Oh no, yeah. There we go. So that's the story. That's the story. Hat tip again to the folks at PTZ Optics. And frankly, as good as PTZ Optics is, and as good as all the other vendors that we deal with are, that we know and love, like PI Engineering and X Keys and Bird Dog and Magewell and PTZ Optics, of course, they all would be up the creek, or at least mostly up the creek, if it were not for vMix. vMix is the secret sauce. vMix is the gotcha. vMix is the king of the hill. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, I remember when we used to do everything with hardware, and our TriCasters are wearing out, and we can't get service for them, and somebody wanted to go the Black Magic route, and I looked at it, and I just didn't feel comfortable with it. It didn't have the flexibility that I needed, and they'd already discovered vMix. I didn't have to take them or take them anywhere or coach them or anything like that. They were preaching to me that vMix is the bomb. vMix is the standard by which all other software switchers are going to be judged. A lot of pressure on the vMix guys, of course, but they've been able to come through so far. So there you go. And the PCs that we build here at Eastern Shore Broadcasting are built for vMix. They're built for vMix using the vMix specifications. The last time, well, I would say somebody in Las Vegas has some PCs that we built for vMix to use at NAB. They stole them all last year or sometime over the pandemic. Yeah, all the PCs that we built for vMix are gone. But in the day, yes, we built them for vMix. We built them for PTZ Optics. We built them for Magewell. And of course, all of our regular clients, both churches and schools and sports arenas, performing arts studios, just all sorts of crazy places. Yeah, sorry for the long ad, but if we can help you with a vMix PC, that's what we do. And everybody has to go the route of buying the one from Walmart or Dell or whatever. And they bumble around with that for a while and finally just simply say, it's not doing what it needs to do. Well, it's not doing what it needs to do because you bought a pickup truck when you needed an 18-wheeler, or you bought an 18-wheeler when you needed a pickup truck. I mean, whatever the scenario would be. And we can help you design something that's going to meet your need today and anticipate what your need will be tomorrow. Well, that was nice. I'm going to have to go back and cut that out as an ad. Hang out with me. We'll be back for the pre-show right after this word from our sponsor. And just realized that the closing credits there still have last year's copyright. Martin sent me the right one, but I forgot it. Martin, sorry about that. Oh, Marie, thank you. I'm so glad that you asked this question. This question gets asked all the time. Does anybody know when vMix will be available for Mac? Well, I've got great news for all of you Mac users out there. This is surprising. And how can I say it in a way that doesn't violate an NDA? It's a non-disclosure agreement. vMix for Mac will be available when pigs fly. So put it on your calendar that day when pigs are flying, vMix for Mac will be released. Yep. Just thought we'd go ahead and clear that up right off the bat. Welcome, John. Glad to have you. Replay footage from a church. That's right. Slow-mo and fast-mo. There you go. Crocs are the bomb. Crocs are the bomb. Welcome, Clint. Glad to have you. Be interested to try out one of these auto tracking cameras on basketball now and see how it would do. Pick out a player. You could probably do it in basketball and see if you can get some follow out of that camera. You want to try one? Let me know. I'll send you one. Let's see. Dave mentioned that I collect cameras, or that I have cameras and should sell them. But no, I'd really rather keep them. What does Jan have to say here? As long as they make it possible to remotely control the auto tracking, may not always be able to use the IR remote. I agree with that. And of course, remotely controlling the auto tracking it's kind of like defeating the purpose of it, but I get it. You want to be able to tweak the auto tracking. So maybe have some different settings in the auto tracking where you're getting a, you know, a zero zoom, 20% zoom, and a 40% zoom, so that you can at least choose the one that's more appropriate for your level, whether it's a studio and we're trying to, you know, keep our eye on somebody that's moving back and forth, or whether it's a church where we need a little tighter shot than we have. When pigs fly. Let's play for a second and turn on the auto tracking for this guy. Now this is the old remote, and I don't remember which button it is that does this. So I'm going to start out with the red button right here, and let's see what happens. Nothing happened. All right, let's try the green button. That's the next one over. Green button. Of course, you think it's blue because of where the chroma key has it. Let's see if we raise it up. Yeah, there you go. You can see the button change color. It really is a green button. That didn't do anything. And now we're going to go to the yellow button. We're getting serious now. That did it. That did it, I think. So there we go. You can see it's going to, now of course the background is not going to move. Let's, can we get into something that doesn't have any background in it? Well, let's just go to this shot for a second and I'll turn off the chroma key. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm on 30X. Now this is, last week we did it with the 20X. And let's go to the cropping. Let's turn the cropping off. There we go. So now we can see the whole thing. And let's just see. I'm standing. And I'm going to move away. Now we're about the same shot that we were getting at the church, whereas you couldn't see my feet and there was a lot of headroom here. I don't have a lot of flexibility in my movement here. I can move a little closer and then a little further over. And let's see if it'll go up to my head eventually. Yeah, there it is. It probably doesn't like that light back there. And I will tell you that here in the studio, it's a little creepy to have this camera that's sort of following you around. I'd like to be able to turn off and on the auto tracking from within vMix. I'd like there to be a hook in the PTZ Optics camera that vMix can connect with to turn off and on the auto tracking. I'd like the auto tracking not to have to go to a home position, and that may be a requirement. Let's turn it off and see what it does. I think I'm going to use this fourth button over here, which I think is the auto. Well, let's see. Let's press the on button for it again. See what happens. Nothing. All right, now let's go to the off button. Yeah. So it turned off, and now it's in the home position. And I'm going to have to, let's see, let's just use the handheld remote. Whoops, there we go. And we'll go a little bit to the side. Back up a little bit. There we are. So there we go. Let's see, can we go back to, yeah, this doesn't look right, but we'll go back to it even when with the green screen here. Don't worry about it. Yeah. 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 I didn't see it turn blurry. Yeah, and I, I previewed, Jan, I previewed some PTZ Optics footage earlier today when there was more than one person in the shot. And it appeared that pushing the on button, which apparently is the yellow button, allowed you to move from person to person. It actually had a green outline, and that outline would disappear from one person and appear on the next person. If you press the button again, it would disappear from them and appear on the next person. And then I guess then it would start back on the other side. Maybe it went from left to right. I don't remember. Um, but it was definitely individual. Definitely was individual. Would it work on a race car? You know, would it work on a sailboat if you were doing sailboat racing? I don't know. Be interesting to put it in some of those environments and see how it would be. Xavier says not to be a negative Nancy, but I just hate the movement of these PTZs. Um, these PTZs, my opinion, outside of the auto tracking, is that these PTZs were not meant to follow action. They were meant to have a series of still presets and that you could move them from place to place and go from preset one to preset two. Now, the auto tracking has added the movement aspect of it. And I suspect as it gets more refined, that we'll see a slower ramp up to full speed and then a slow down prior to stop. Um, and that, it'll become more cameraman-esque ish. We'll see. But I get it. I get it. And the idea is that it's mechanical. It might have artificial intelligence, but it doesn't have that much intelligence. it's it's just it's just gears and motors, and it hasn't advanced to the point where it's anticipatory or um, or where the set of rules that it's working with are not very advanced. So there we will see. Okay. Yeah. And and it's 2 grand, 2,200 US. What do you expect? You want fluid, fabulous motion? It's probably out there for 25,000 somewhere. Um, would the camera speed help the movement? Tell me more what you're talking about. John, I'm not sure. Check the image in Messenger. Oh my goodness. All right. What do we got? Jan sent a photo. Can I just drag that photo from Facebook into vMix? No. Can I look at the photo? Can I save the photo in desktop? There we go. Now, can I drag it in? Jan has sent me a photo, and here is the photo he wants us to talk about. So what are we talking about in this photo? Um, we've got an image of a lot of people. Help me out what you want to do with that, Jan. So yeah, we'll come back to that one when you've got a comment on it. You, my friend, are in the minority. Most of us would not know where to start. Oh, I'd I'd start with rubber bands and toothpicks and super glue. Yeah. All right. So Jan has said, would the camera speed help the movement? I think if you're talking about the auto tracking movement, as opposed to just simply the panning, tilting movement, which are controlled by you and me, the auto tracking is essentially controlled by the person it's tracking. Can you speed up and slow down the pan, tilt, and zoom? Yes, you can. You can in the PTZ Optics. You can with the bird dogs. And vMix has some controls inside it that allow you to slow down the movement. So, for example, at my church, we have one camera. So all the movement of that camera has to be slowed down. We can't have the camera going zip to its position two. We have to take it nice and slowly, or our audience will be throwing their breakfast up. So yeah. All right. So Jan's got a few ideas of who he'd like to track in this crowd. This would be a great test case. This would be a great test case. I mean, you look at the people on the ground floor, on the second floor, and the third floor. And can you imagine picking out somebody, let's just say on the second floor, let's just say the person above the second column on the right in the gray shirt. Could this camera follow that person? I don't know. That would be an interesting test. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind giving it a try. In fact, we might try that one day. Maybe some folks will help me after church or something like that, and we can get 8 or 10. Excuse me, got the hiccups all of a sudden. 8 or 10 people up there, and switch tracking from person to person using the remote. Well, there you go. There you go. Oh, by the way, my demo camera idea is US only. Marie, can't surprise Jan with one for your birthday. Although that would be a really sweet thing to do. Yeah, it would. It would. Oh, by the way, Sandy said if I saw you to say hi. So Sandy says hi. Yep. All right. Let's see. Kind of interesting. The live stream here today has been flickering between red, which is good, and yellow, which is not so good. So I hope that has not given you any buffering. That's right. This is Jan's meeting right here. That's a good question. In the Gen 2 version of the PTZ Optics cameras, they did release a firmware update that did make an adjustment for the zoom based on, they made an adjustment for the pan and the tilt based on the zoom. And so the further out you were zoomed, the faster it would pan and tilt. And the further in you were zoomed, the slower it would pan and tilt. So that it appeared that the movement was the same amount of movement. Yeah. And I think the bird dogs do that too, as I recall. Oh boy. Where can we go with this one? Jan is spending all his money on Marie. Smart guy. Smart guy. Of course, she's smarter. But that's okay. That's okay. It never hurts. I mean, it never hurts to marry up. It never hurts to marry up. Yep. 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 Okay, so we never did talk about what our PC was here today. It's a Intel processor. I think it is the i9 10900, which would be a 10 core. We are streaming 4K 60p. The total CPU is about 30%. vMix CPU is about 23%. GPU memory is 67%. We're using a RTX 2080 Ti. Render time is 9, 10, 9, 8, 11, in that range. And we are live streaming at 14 megs, 4K 60. We've got 20 megs, tested it, and it's 20 megs solid, but we're getting, buffers, frame buffer warnings right and left. So, yeah, it may be that we're sending it faster than YouTube can take it. Let's see what YouTube is saying right now. Saying you're not receiving YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Well, that appears to be the same. That error was at 250, which is right now. Well, I'll leave it up to you guys to tell me if you're seeing some buffering. This is kind of the way it was last week, and I just don't think that's true. Yep. 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 Let's see. So Jan was talking about this shot. He sent me a message about it. I missed it. Sorry. That his CEO was talking to 40,000 employees. Now, obviously, not all of them right there, but that's a good work, Jan. Good work. Yeah, yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thank you, John. Thank you, John, and thank your wife. And I will send you shipping tracking on all this stuff. I can get yours on its way to you for sure. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in today. We're going to pop out now, and we'll see you next week. We'll have to come up with a good guest or a new topic on a different type of subject next week. We'll see. All right. There we go. Y'all take care.